We're back up on the roof tonight, and we're installing the fans now. This is going to be kind of fortunate because we're doing a fan-tastic fan at the back. We're doing a MaxAir fan at the front. You'll see both of them in this one video. Welcome to Van of Action, where we're taking a 2018 Dodge Promaster van and building a family camper. This week, we're installing two different kinds of ceiling fans. You'll witness them both here in real time. Give us a like, give us a share, and by all means, give us a subscribe and leave a comment. We're trying to share what we think is relevant information just because we want to share it. Let's get started. The first thing we did was cut our hole, which we did a long time ago, and this fan fits in. You make sure the fan fits, and it does. And then once you've got it where you want it to be, and this is the first time I've done this, we're making it up as we go. Once you've got it where you want it to be, you trace around the perimeter. You need to know where those marks are going to be, where it's going to actually sit. And depending where you put your fan, and depending on the van you have, these ribs may or may not be an issue. At the front end, for the fan-tastic fan, there are no ribs. It just worked out that way. In this case, there are. I'm going to show you how we're going to deal with that. So you've put the fan where it belongs. You've made sure on the inside everything lines up. It does. We've marked around the perimeter. Now we remove the fan. Good. Now the next thing we have to do is clean it. It's important that the surfaces be clean and dry in order for the sealant and mastic to stick, and you need a really good bond between the metal and the flange of the fan. So take a little time here, a little soapy water, a little clean rinse water, and a towel to dry the surface off. Just takes a couple of minutes, but this is one of the most critical parts of the whole job right here. My fan is going to sit in this opening, and these ribs are an issue because the fan's going to sit on the high spots. The low spots are going to be a challenge. I'll get you closer for that. So you can see here, I have the outside line of where my fan's going to go, and I have these ribs. And what I've done is I've machined a piece of wood to fit in there. Some people will fill that with mastic. Some people will fill it with caulking. In my opinion, that needs to be filled with something solid. And in this case, it's a veneer core plywood. So again, it's stable, it's strong, it goes in a lot of different directions. All I have to do is keep that dry, it'll last forever. And then that will give me a perfectly good bond all the way down through for the thickness of the roof. So I have the 6 little pieces that I need to put in on that pencil line. So it lines up with the underside of my flange. I'm going to do that now. Now I want to put these pieces of wood in the valleys of the ribs, and I want to have a nice bead of caulking, a good seal, all the way along the whole length of it. So I have each of the valleys filled up with a piece of wood that has a consistent layer of mastic underneath it and up the sides. And now the whole surface here is all the same level for the flange. So now I can put my mastic around the flange and screw it down. Okay. Now the mastic. This is the mastic you buy when you buy your fan. The guy that sells you the fan will sell you this stuff. Sticks on both sides. It's absolutely wonderful. I need a knife, and it goes underneath the flange. So all I need to do is get it the length I want it. Cut it. Okay. And then cut it. If it's a little bit under the line, that's okay, because we're going to run a bead of caulking around the perimeter afterwards as well to seal it all up. So it's really important you have this mastic, and you want to have it overhang a little bit on the edges, on the corners. You don't want them you don't want to have a space between them. This is the seal that keeps the water out. So make sure you get a good overlap. Not a massive overlap, but a bit of an overlap so that you got a good consistent seal all the way around. Okay. Now we have a good mastic seal all the way around the perimeter. Huh, can't get any better than that. Now, take our fan and make sure, be very careful, this is the last chance you get, make sure the fan is oriented the right way. This is the edge of the hinge, it should face the front of the van. And drop it onto the hole. There we go. Fan, flange, snug all the way around. It's going to screw down tight, and there won't be a void. It'll be sealed all the way through, and then we're going to come around afterwards and put a bead of caulking along the outside. This is going to look great. Then you simply drill through the holes that are already there, through the metal, and put these screws in through the wood. You snug them until you start seeing the mastic start to ooze out. Once you've seen that, then you know you're pulling down nice and snug. I'm going to let this set up overnight, and then I'll come back and finish caulk it in the morning. So there is the MaxAir fan, Maxi fan, Fanny Max, I don't know what you call the friggin' thing. Anyway, there it is there, installed, ready for the final caulking. At the front of the van, we're going to use a MaxAir fan. And the MaxAir fan is even more special and even easier. Okay, now the MaxAir fan. At the front end, we're having a MaxAir fan. And the MaxAir fan is even easier to install because it has this roof flange assembly first. And the fan itself, at the back one, we had to put the whole fan in the roof in order to fasten it down. In this case, this part stays off and disconnected until the connection with the roof's all made, which is kind of cool. Now, MaxAir fan and the other fan we just put in the back, they're similar but different. This fan is thermostatically controlled so that we can set the temperature for 80 degrees inside the cab. And when the cab temperature inside reaches 80 degrees, the fan will automatically come on whether we're there or not, which we thought would be pretty beneficial, you know. Now, that's great, but we don't need two like that. One like that's probably enough. The fan that we put at the back end is not thermostatically controlled, but it is reversible. So on any given day or night, we can have the air going in at one end and out at the other, which we think, and which the research has shown, should make things a little bit more pleasant inside. So I've got soapy water and a clean rag, and then get rid of the soapy water and get my clean rinse water. It looks like the same bottle, but it's the same. It's different bottles, different water. Rinse off the soap, clean rag. Want the surface to be clean so that the mastic will stick to it. Very important. And then, what's going on here? Okay. And then, dry rag to dry it off good. And right here is the wiring for the fan. The fan wiring is important to be on the right side of the fan, and so when you get your fan, read the literature. I've had this fan for a while. I know this is where the connection has to be made. It's important. There we go. Okay, good. Now, this fan goes in the roof. Metal tabs to the sides, like so. And again, we now trace around it. So that we know where to put the mastic. Lift it out. You know, this really couldn't be easier. I have a whole lot of this mastic left over too. So, be carefully. Place the mastic around the pencil line. I wonder if I can get around the corner. No, not very well. we go. Now, this guy goes on. I want to make sure that he's dust free as well, because he's been sitting up here for the whole construction period. So I'll wipe him off a little bit. That's good. It's important the tabs go to the sides. That's the most important part of the whole process here. Okay, and there we are. Now, we have a bag of screws that they give us. That goes open. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so 16. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 the same. No, that's not the same. 16 the same. There are some white ones. I'm assuming that's for the inside. For some reason, there's only 3 white ones, which I don't understand. There's a shorter one there, too. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Well, that's what they gave me, so we're going to make it work. Okay. So, now I need my drill. And God knows why, but these are Phillips heads too. I don't know why people do that. All right, so start off with the 4 corners. Then we'll take our screw tip. And the screw. And you can feel it oozing out. When that mask starts to ooze, you know you're pulling it in. There we go. You can hear it, you can feel it. Good. Good, good, good. Here, come back and put a little caulking on the top of these. Good. Now. I speeded things up here just a bit. You're just drilling, I think it's about 15 holes around the edge so you can put the screws in. And you're all set to go. It just takes a couple of seconds. One more. There we go. Now we can put the screws in. Oops. Oh, I didn't drill those. Did I drill those? I got excited here. Here we go. You can hear it and feel it when it starts to pull up snug. Don't over tighten it. This mastic is designed to seal it. It's nice not having to have the little pieces in there. Here we go. hopefully you can see that coming out, oozing out a bit. That's good. We're going to clean all that up tomorrow. Just want to make sure it's snug. 3 more pulls to drill. Hopefully we have enough juice in the battery. Okay, here. I'm going to bring you over here a little bit closer for this, hopefully. Let's see here. See that? Let's see. See how oozed out there? See how that pulled out? Oozed out. Good stuff. I'm short a couple of screws here. I don't know what's going on. Once we have the mounting rig installed and the mastic in, I like to give it a day just for the mastic to set in and get nice and firm. You can do it right away if you don't want to. If you don't want to wait, that's fine. Then it's time to caulk it in. We want to add a little lap seal on it just to make sure it's totally sealed up. And sometimes that can look like a real dog's breakfast when it's all done. And the easiest way to make it look neat is to mask it off. Put some masking tape down around where you want the caulking to go. Nothing worse than having it look all crappy after you've gone to all the effort to make sure everything looks nice and tidy. Turn off the corner. Just make sure there's no debris and dust. Nice clean surface for the caulking to stick to. Nothing to this. And this is the technique for caulking everywhere. You're doing a bathroom or a kitchen. Easily done. Get the line you want the caulking to go on. Mask off the corners. That's great. Now I'm going to mask off the back one as well before I start doing the caulking. And now here is a pro tip. This is where a lot of people get really intimidated and they think they have to make their bead of caulking look perfect as it comes out of the gun, and nothing could be further from the truth. With that masking tape on the roof, you can just glump that stuff in there, whatever way it comes out of the gun, it's fine. Make sure you've got enough. In fact, put in a little bit more than you think you need. It's not a problem. It's important to get the seal. We can make it look pretty the next step along the way. Once you've got it glooped in there, you take your finger and you start to smooth it off. It really is just a matter of feel. We reach across. You don't want to overwork it, but work it a little bit to get what you want. Make a nice smooth transition from the upper edge to the lower edge, squeezing it out onto the tape a little bit, feathering it out a bit onto the tape. Then you take your fingertip and get a little bit on the edge of your finger and put it on each screw tips, the head of each screw, so you're sure you got a good seal there. And just be very patient with it. Just be very gentle. Doesn't take a lot of pressure. You just kind of just work your way around until you've got it the way you think is going to look really nice. Smooth off the corners, and then stand back and take a look at it and you say, my God, it looks like hell. Imagine how this would look if you didn't have the tape on it. But if you carefully remove the tape, and then with just one edge of one finger, you can smooth off the little bridge the tape leaves behind, and it looks like this. Professional, clean, neat, and you know you've got a good seal. Easy peasy. Thanks so much for watching this thing. I hope you found it useful. Please give us a subscribe and a share. Be well now.